It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because when we saw them sitting there, we just wondered why they don't use a chair. The Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoyacomedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
Here's Mark Bailey.
Welcome back to Talk Funny. I'm here with Tim Lennane. This is Mark Bailey, and welcome back, Tim.
Hi, how you doing, Mark?
And this is our podcast for Nagoyacomedy.com. You can reach us at Nagoyacomedy.com or AskPortJapan@yahoo.com, or you can also reach us at the Facebook page, Nagoya Comedy.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you, and we also post our shows, our schedules. You can see where we're planning to be on Nagoyacomedy.com. So I think we alluded to it before, but we have something that you do, Tim, when you go on stage to try to, I call it being in the zone, and you call it like being
in the light. And it was literally from a TED talk that I'd seen about public speaking, and the idea is that you can actually really get started on public speaking or getting up in front of people before you get up on that stage, and take literally 30 seconds to a minute, and you get within yourself, and then you try to spread out the light, try to light up the room, spread kind of the goodness. And actually for myself, I say I love my audience. I say I love you, and I'm going to get up there, I'm going to have a great time. And as soon as you walk up there, you feel good. You feel good, and you're feeling up, and you're spreading the love, and everybody else can feel it and see it in you too, except for those few dark heckler mavens. But when you bring that kind of sense of energy when you get up there, the idea is that you're going to have a good time, and they're going to have a good time. Even if your joke's bomb, you can still have a good time with it, and people are rooting for you, and people are on your side.
There's something to, not to be confused with cockiness, but you almost have to be a little cocky to get up on stage in the first place. Otherwise, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to destroy yourself with lack of confidence. I'm probably one of the cockier ones, but you see me, I get up, and I'm kind of an act. I'm kind of a parody of my real self. And you don't believe me. Tim doesn't believe me, but I've said this before. In private, I'm actually a very nerdy, introverted guy.
I so don't believe you.
I really am. But it's a defense mechanism from being bullied all the time that I have this other mode.
6'4".
I have this. I'm shorter than I used to be, and I have this mode where I would go into it's kind of a defensive mode. But when I go on stage, I'm kind of like a parody on stage. And I don't know if you know, for example, Andrew Dice Clay is actually also very nerdy. He's a huge guy, but he's very nerdy. He's very tall and intimidating. But in private, he's a really sweet guy. He really is. And that stuff, hickory dickory dock, that's all an act.
Exactly. And
so I don't do it that much, but when I get on, I'm I call it being in the zone. And so part of the having confidence is I tape it. I tape my set. I record it ahead of time, and I do somewhat of a version of what I listen to during the week. And I kind of know the flow. I know what I'm going to say. Generally, I know what I'm going to do, and I know the order of it. And that's what open micers don't know to do that. They don't do it. And some comics don't do that. If you don't do that, you're going to be a nervous wreck.
I don't do that. And you are, and I do become a nervous wreck up there. So the idea, yes, I've been getting in the practice of, I'll be doing it on the way to the gig. I'll be actually practicing the lines, but I'll do that also a couple days before, and a few days before that is actually really trying to get it down now. So
what a good, even like for your act, like even if you want to just loosely organize it, would be something like get up and do you've got your wife jokes. And just,
do my, welcome, I'm an alcoholic joke kind of thing. Yeah.
And your wife jokes, and then, maybe 3 categories of something. Just do all those jokes in the same category, move to the next one. And as long as you know what you're going to end on, your strongest part, that adds a lot of confidence if you know what you're doing. And I always know, when I write my sets, this is kind of a secret, I write the closer first. Mm-hmm. I write, what do I want to do that's different and I think it's going to bring the house down, and I try that first and I go backwards. What's going to lead up to that? Mm. And sometimes you'll use something called callback. Well, you'll talk about your wife at the beginning, and then you'll talk about your wife at the end. It kind of wraps it all up. So that's one way to organize it. But yeah, if you think I'm just going to get up and I'm just going to feed off of energy from the audience, no, that's drunk energy that you're feeling from the audience. And there's some people in there that are like, I can do what he can do. No, actually, you probably can't because you haven't prepared. And if you prepared, you have a lot more confidence to do that. And of course, the more you do it, the easier it gets. But yeah, that's one thing, is try to get in the zone and think that, as you mentioned before, people are there. They want to see you do well. They want to watch you do well. They really do want you to do well.
It's like, hey, man, make me laugh. It's not like that.
No.
They've actually paid hard-earned money to laugh. So they're actually wanting to laugh. And so if you get even something reasonably funny, they're going to laugh.
Yeah, I had this when I went back to the States at the airport. And the guy goes, you live in Japan, what do you do? And I said, well, I'll do a lot of different things, but I'm a comedian. He goes, oh, you're a comedian, tell me something funny. And I said, well, why don't you paint my house first?
Exactly.
Because I'm not gonna do a joke for you.
Yeah, tell us something funny, man. You're a clownfish.
Yeah. Now that's no pressure at all. You don't get into the U.S. I'm sorry, that was a bad dog joke. You don't get into the U.S. There's too much pressure. So it's like there's no way you're gonna win. Even Seinfeld. Somebody goes, hey, tell me a joke. Seinfeld's like, screw you. Pay for a ticket.
Well, that's like, in Japanese, this one guy, I will say this in a bar. I don't know, the guy just, hits me on the shoulder and goes, hey, how you doing? I look at him, I don't know this man.
Yeah. And
he's surrounded by a crowd of, salary men. I go, well, who the hell are you? And it's like, what, you don't want to say hello? It's like, I don't know you. Go away.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that's an English thing. He's showing off English for his friends, but hurry up, tell us a joke.
Yeah, that never works.
Funny, man.
Never works. And even I'm a language nerd, so somebody will say, "Oh, so you speak some languages? So say something in German." So I always have everything ready. Etwas. And what does that mean? Etwas means something.
Yeah,
something.
Means something. Yeah.
Say something in Spanish. Algo. Say something in Japanese. Nanka. Yeah. Just be ready. They're like, what does that mean? Something. That's what you asked me to do.
Yeah, say something. Yes.
So otherwise, it's like,
say something in English.
Yeah, I'm gonna show off. It's like that never works because now comedy only works when your defenses are down, and you're doing. You think I'm going to go this way, but I go, and I turn to the left. Suddenly, diverted expectations.
Yeah, the surprise. That customs official says, "Tell me something funny." He's like, well, I got like a whole load of Quaaludes in my suitcase. What do you think? Is that funny?
Yeah. It's like trying to tickle yourself. It's not going to work. Not going to work. And
I do tickle myself
I mean,
all the
above
time.
the waist. I'm talking about above the waist.
I try to get there faster. And you were talking about being prepared, because that is part of the act. And I've learned over the 2.5 years I've been doing it with you guys that yes, I do have a set list of what I'm going to be saying on stage. I've got it memorized. I may be shaky on some stuff because it's all new stuff, right? So I don't know if it's going to be funny or not. But I definitely have an order of things that I'm going to do. I don't know if I can fill the 5 or 10 minutes or that kind of stuff. But the idea is that then I get in myself and I try to psych myself up and really be one with the crowd because I already have it and I'm ready to go. And I do like, but I like bantering the crowd a little bit. So, but spreading out that light and being in that zone and being prepared makes for a good set. And when you get that first laugh and people start rolling along with you, it's like then it just comes and comes and comes. And sometimes you'll flatten out a little bit, and then you go for, like you said, then you go for your closer.
Yeah.
If two jokes fall flat, don't go for a third mysterious joke. Go to your Don't go to the third questionable one. Go to the closer.
Yeah.
Go to the big one that you're going to get laughs.
And another thing is, I don't know if you do weddings or not, but I do weddings, and people. One of the things when you're starting off doing weddings and you're nervous. When I train the guys how to do weddings, and I tell them, don't worry. If you make a mistake, just correct it immediately.
Yeah.
And don't say sumimasen. Don't say, because now everyone knows you screwed up. They don't have your script. They don't have a copy of it. They're not looking at it, and you have it. So you're the only one that knows you screwed up. And same thing with comedy. It's like, I was supposed to do that joke before the other one. They're not going to notice. They're not going to notice. If you exude confidence that you know what you're going to do in order, and there's a reason I'm telling these jokes, there's a reason I'm telling these jokes, and I hope you think they're funny, whatever, but you don't say, well, this is the funnier one, or this is a really funny one. It's like saying, tell me a joke, right? So we wanted to mention one of our guys we found recently, a Japanese guy named Saku Yanagawa.
Yes.
And he's been really great. He's worked in Chicago, and he's done comedy. He does a lot of English comedy, and we were at a show where we had more Japanese people in the audience, and we had never heard that act in Japanase. It was a kind of different act.
Yeah, you kind of turn on the afterburners.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard his English act, and his English is really, really good. And in fact, he just recently had a very large article in Japan Today, I believe, about him doing the circuit in Chicago. But also, apparently,
thanks for mentioning Nagoya, where you play monthly. By the way,
well, yeah,
thanks for that.
Yeah,
he may have mentioned it. Maybe they cut it out.
Maybe. Who knows?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, because absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure he mentioned us because he does come down regularly. He's this young guy who's really doing it on a pro level. I'm surprised we don't see him on TV more because he really does have the panache.
And it's really cute because he comes to some of the shows, and I talk to him, and I'm like, how you doing? He's like, I'm nervous. I'm like, what are you nervous for? You're making us nervous.
He's like, but the true pro to pro. I mean, the other rest of us, we're all kind of like hacks a little bit, but he gets up there and he's got a quiver of jokes. I mean,
and it's a small quiver, and that's what I've talked about before. It's
right.
Like he needs to learn how to write new stuff, and I'm trying to help him do that. But yeah, I was a pro, and I recognize a pro. I'm like, wow, this guy is raising expectations.
Yeah.
And it's great if he does one show a year, but if you're doing it once a month, he's going to have to, learn how to accelerate. And in Chicago, he didn't have to do that, so it's a new skill for him.
Well, it's actually very
cool. But he's young
then.
enough, he can learn.
Yeah, and if you see, and he's come to our shows, he's seen us do different things every time.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, okay, get on it. But I'm really impressed with him. I think he's a very, very funny guy.
Fantastic. And he hasn't even seen our best stuff. Our best stuff was probably our first 2 or 3 sets.
Yeah.
And then we're writing new stuff all the time. And then if we go to another city, we reprise some of the older stuff. But there's kind of like, maybe we should do like a Nagoyacomedy greatest hits show sometime where we do all the stuff that we know works.
Yeah.
Maybe after a year that nobody's heard it. Maybe it's been a year and you haven't heard it.
Well, then we should actually. Okay, if you're listening out there, come to the shows. This is kind of it's a growing, vibrant scene here in Nagoya. I mean, we have Tokyo, which is really big. It's got a very big comedy going base. And Osaka's pretty lively with the Pirates of the Dotonbori
and ROR Comedy Club.
ROR.
Those guys are really on the game, but they also do the same set most of the time. The only thing with them is they don't get on. There's so many of them that they only get on. 3 or 4 of them get on every month, so they're not even doing their set every month. But they're doing the same set maybe 3 times in a year. So they get 3 or 4 on, and they have to take turns. We were really lucky. We all get on every time.
Is that luck? Is that really luck? No, it's lucky.
I'm telling you guys, this is really forced development. But you're gonna thank me for it when we all have Netflix specials.
It gets better.
Yeah.
It truly, the writing has gotten better too.
There's a guy named David Mendez. And I don't know him, and I don't have any animus against him. But I saw his Netflix special, and it was about an hour long. And when I saw him, he's a very young guy. And I just saw him, and I said, he's just not ready. He's not ready for a Netflix special. It wasn't very, very funny. He needed a lot more polishing. He needed a lot more experience. I think he might have had 2 years' experience. It's just not enough.
But he still had a Netflix special.
Yeah, but he'll probably never have another one. He just wasn't funny. It just wasn't that good.
Well, we aren't putting our stuff up on YouTube either, though.
No, I don't like to do it because I've seen other comics get their jokes ripped off.
Yeah, and that can't
YouTube.
happen. So.
I would rather do something on Patreon or something. I mean, I don't want to give our stuff away.
I agree with you on that because there's enough market out there. Anyway, we got off on a weird tangent there, but
all right. So come see our shows, as you were saying.
I'll be in the light. I'll be in the light for you.
We usually try to do at least one show a month, and we're usually in Nagoya, Gifu, or Toyohashi, or some other part of Nagoya. And we have some other projects we're working on.
But if you're listening out there in Japan land, it's anywhere near Nagoya, Gifu, Toyohashi, come out and see our shows. I mean, we need you to be there for us. We'll be there for you.
One thing I wanted to mention is that, it seems like we're not making a lot of money. But if you think about it, you're only up there for 10 minutes. I mean, I know you're hanging out for the whole show, but you're having fun and you're talking to people and drinking and stuff. But you're only up for 10 minutes. And if you parse that with what you make with teaching English for 10 minutes, it's more. It's more than what you make teaching. All right, I think it's time to wrap this up. Tim Lennane has been with us. This has been Talk Funny.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.